You know, virtually everybody in our industry has an opinion about safer driving or driving safety. The OEMs, well, they want to talk about how safe their cars are. Driver experts want to talk about training, particularly kid training. And of course, our own Freeman Young has his own delightful opinions on the subject. We went to the Canadian International Autoshow to talk to some of the experts and to our own Hard Drive Crown studio to talk to Freeman. Ex-professional race car driver Rolf von Engelbrechten has had a career in the automotive business. Today, he runs one of the top Audi service stores in the country.
People do not realize that driving is a privilege, not a right. They get their licenses almost out of a box of Cracker Jacks now. The test procedures are a joke. The amount of time you need to be exposed to any sort of instruction is minimal. Combine that with all the distractions, whether it's your triple large coffee or the text message that you just received or the nav device on your windshield. There are too many distractions, and we just don't know how to handle all of that and drive at 100 kilometers per hour on a highway full of cars with people doing the same thing and all distracted.
When you look at the safety shield, the issue is to look at the various what happens as things get closer to the vehicle. When you're far out from the vehicle, we're working on systems. We have systems that warn you, hey, you're getting close to a vehicle in front of you. Maybe you should pay attention. You know, we have actually on Infiniti, we have a pedal, the accelerator pedal pushes back against your foot to warn you, to actually physically tell you, maybe you should think about doing something. So those are kind of systems that work at the edges. Our interactive cruise control also will start to slow the vehicle down automatically so that it says, hey, you know, you better pay attention to what's around you. But as you get closer and closer, obviously you need to protect the customer. You need to then take more aggressive actions. We do have systems on Infiniti that will put the brakes on. And then there's the crash, the passive safety. So you've got to have all those elements. What happens with the driver itself, I mean, we try to make the driver better. So as I talked about our interactive cruise control, our distance control assist, our vehicle dynamic control system, those are all about helping the driver do what they should be doing. Governments obviously have a role to play. I mean, you need to have proper driver testing, proper driver licensing, and that's an important element. We support that kind of activity. It's just tough sometimes to get it to happen.
Jeff Loriman, championship race driver and automobile expert, has been hanging around with the guys from Hard Drive for 15 years.
We're not necessarily crashing any less than we used to, but with all of the safety features in a car, the survivability of the crashes, well, it's a lot better. Now, there is an argument that maybe we have too much safety stuff in a car. You know, that maybe we should learn how to drive, we should know how to correct a skid and not completely depend on the car. But with our society today, this kind of cradle to the grave philosophy we have of having the government look after us at every step of the way, you know, maybe we need to take a little bit more responsibility for ourselves. Maybe we need to learn how to drive, learn how to brake, and learn how to look after ourselves.
Unfortunately, we've bubble wrapped our society. We've got people so overly protected from the outside that they're no longer taking the responsibility themselves to be prepared for the environment. How many people have a shovel in their trunk? How many people wear boots rather than high heels to take that 1-hour drive downtown? People are assuming that the car is going to save them no matter what. All these active controls on the cars now, or the hand of God will keep them on the road no matter what. Well, at some point the laws of physics will give out and you're going to fall off the road. Why not learn how to not fall off the road to begin with?
Jeff Perrant, VP Sales of Marketing at Nissan Canada, is a well-known car guy and a guy who's had a meteoric rise to the top of the automotive industry.
And you realize after you drive for 30 years that it's an acquired skill. You become better at it and you learn things as you go along. And frankly, when you're 16 or 17 years old, you don't have that skill. And some people never develop that skill. So I think what I'd like to see is more training up front. But also, when people have repetitive incidents, they should have to be retrained on some of these things.
I have a 15-year-old that's turning 16 in the spring, and he's going to be starting to drive. And yes, it makes me nervous. The experience level that you need to have to navigate through the roads. What I love about Infiniti is that we are looking to technologies to help through those elements. To give warning signs, to give the feedback.
Well, Christine Hollander is the Director of Communications for Ford of Canada. Christine is enthusiastic about the new Ford lineup.
We've added My Key. My Key is a standard feature on our vehicle. There's two keys. One is a master key, the other one is a My Key key. And you can program the key to do a couple of things. Limit the speed at 130 kilometers per hour. Second thing it does is it puts the radio at a maximum of 44%. The other thing that it does is if you don't put your seatbelt or the passenger does not put their seatbelt on, it chimes, which drives the teen crazy. On top of that, it mutes the radio. My God, driving a car without a radio. God forbid, right?
There are many schools out there to help you drive better and to help you improve your chances of not having a crash at all. There are winter driver training schools, there are summer driver training schools, there's young drivers. I mean, and one thing that a parent should not do is teach their child how to drive. You need a professional to teach them how to drive. There's no sense in teaching your child all of your bad habits.
I think really the essence of it, Tom, really amounts to this. People are just under so much stress today. Time has gotten away from people. There's no longer the planning that used to go on in travel. So honestly, when people are on the road between listening to radios, trying to catch up on what's going on their communication device, and at the same time trying to get where they're going quicker than what they should, the roads have become an absolute menace to drive on. And even if you're a cautious driver, and I consider myself one, you leave lots of space for people in front of you. Your life is in your hands virtually every time you jump on a highway in Ontario, and you should feel that way about it. You should realistically drive with the idea in mind. If you want to go home, you want to focus on what you're doing while you're on the road.
Well, you can sum all of this in one quote by Walt Kelly. Through Pogo, the cartoon character, I have met the enemy, and he is us. We have to take responsibility for the whole driving lexicon. First of all, through legislation. A chimpanzee should not be able to get a driver's license in this country, yet the tests all reflect that. If you lose your driver's license because you've proved that you're a lousy driver, you should really have to go through some kind of retesting to prove that you deserve to be on the roads again. And at the end of the day, the responsibility is ours. Somebody's out there doing all the crashing. I know it's not us, but if we want to stay out of being collected up by them, we have to drive actively. Take responsibility, or else you're just going to be one of those people, another statistic, that's nose first into the guardrail on the side of the highway.